Oh my lovely law enthusiast humans, do we have the tea today? We are talking about Donna Adelson trial recaps. We're going to go over day 2 and then I'll do day 3. I am a little behind. I've been working some 12-hour days and haven't been able to keep up with trial, so I've had to be watching them after work instead of during work, so I can't do the recap at night, blah, blah, blah. Anywho, the tea gets crazy. We are only 4 days into trial at this point. I'm going over day 2. Today is Thursday, the 28th of August, and we're going to be going into day 4. But in the 3 days of trial that we've had so far, we have had the tea. We have had the tea. So let's talk about days 2's tea. And depending on how long that recap will go, I know that day 3's recap is going to be really long because, oh, the juice. We got the chai because the tea is spicy today. Also, it's freezing where I am. So today we have the Donna Adelson trial, day 2. Donna Adelson has been charged and accused of multiple counts related to first-degree murder for the hitman hired to off her ex-son-in-law, Dan Markel, about a year after a divorce went through with her daughter, Wendi Adelson. Now, Wendi Adelson's taking the stand today, and this is fascinating because Wendi Adelson has not been charged with anything as of today. As of August 28th, 2025, Wendi Adelson has not been charged with anything. Because the claim was that she didn't know anything that was going on. The only thing that happened was when law enforcement first approached her, she had said that her brother, Charlie Adelson, who has already been convicted, had made a joke with her about that he was going to hire a hitman to get rid of their Dan Markel problem. The Dan Markel problem that the Adelsons were having, that Donna Adelson was allegedly having, and hence being the mastermind, as she has been alleged to be, is that Dan Markel would not relocate from Tallahassee, Florida to Miami, Florida, specifically to Coral Springs, which is one of the subsets of Miami, which is about an 8-hour distance away. Apparently, the Adelsons had been bugging and nagging the Markels at the time to relocate south. Donna had tried numerous tactics, using her daughter to use numerous tactics to try to convince Dan to move south. He was not interested in moving south. And he didn't want to. She wanted more time with her grandchildren, and Dan Markel said that they were welcome to the children, but they complained about the distance. And Donna Adelson had some interesting things to say about the timeline in her emails. There were several emails that had come forward between her and Wendi. Now, Wendi had said that her and her family, when she was brought on the stand, she had said that her brother had gotten her a TV as a divorce present, and the TV is going to come up a lot. She was on the stand and she said that she didn't know anything that was going on, that she didn't see her mother as being very controlling, and that everything was pretty chill. But before we got to Wendi, like through her emails and previous testimony, we had the lovely investigator come up on the stand, and they had a little pre-trial motion about admitting certain pieces of evidence that were eventually allowed in. So the investigator was allowed to talk about how Donna wasn't letting the kids be sad, that the kids had been calling Dan, had said, "Grandma thinks you're stupid, Dad. Grandma thinks you're an idiot," and says these things. Using disparaging remarks had prompted Dan Markel to put in a court order to limit visits from Donna Adelson. It went from, you can see the kids whenever you want to, she's not allowed to have unsupervised visits, and her visits are going to be extremely limited. He wanted his children to spend less time and no unsupervised time alone with Donna Adelson. This ticked Donna Adelson off. We've shown previous emails of the things that he said, but he also said that this is where she had made her notions that we don't want Danny to continue his religious influence over these children. Now, that's a fascinating thing. That becomes fascinating in multiple facets. So, many of the people who she had sent matches of Match.com to Wendi Adelson in emails, here are some nice matches for you, here are some nice men for you. A lot of them were Jewish. It seems that Donna Adelson, when she was mad at Dan Markel, tried to use his religion against him, that he is trying to indoctrinate and that they won't eat non-kosher in your home. She said that he has religious influence than what he's already done. If he keeps this up, they won't want to eat in your non-kosher home, because they had to eat kosher in Dan Markel's home. He had a core value of religion, being Jewish. And she said, as they get older, and she continued to call Dan Markel this name Gibbers. Now, I apologize in advance to the Jewish community if that is some sort of horrid slur. I do not know. I am reading emails. I do not hold those views myself. I am reading emails. She said will be able to request which parent they want to live with. Don't allow Gibbers to have this power and control over them. In the reality, he's going to have the same control over you. This is what we call projection. Donna wants control. She continuously shows that she exhibits high levels of control in her children's lives. And since Dan Markel wasn't being compliant with her, she's accusing him of being the controlling one. Fascinating. You heard in trial, Dan Markel disappears. He goes boom. And I don't know. That seems suspicious to me. It's kind of like my shirt. It says, I don't know, you kind of sus. Donna and Wendi are both kind of sus in my not so humble opinion. Let's keep going. After a bunch of those emails get brought in, including the ones about the grandma motion, we have Wendi brought to the stand. And she goes, I don't know which of my parents was talking. I know my mom probably emailed a little bit more than my dad, but they shared an email account. Either one of them could have done it. I don't have any proof. I don't know which one was talking to me. I don't know if it was my mom or my dad. And then it was pointed out that a lot of the email said, love mom. And she goes, well, like my dad could have been writing it and my mom could have been, or it could have been a dictation. Like my mom could have just been writing out the emails. And my dad was the one talking. Okay, cool. That means your mom still had knowledge of those emails. She was still involved, Wendi. Wendi is clearly trying to distance Donna from the emails as best she can. And she has been granted a lawful immunity. Now, this does not mean that she cannot ever be charged with anything. Let's be clear. We're going to take a little divergence. Whenever a family member or somebody who has not been charged, who is directly related, like blood related, marriage related, etc., to a certain family member who has been charged, it is often the case that that person, when they are subpoenaed, forced to go to court by the prosecution, things that they say cannot be used against them in that context. So whatever questions and things that the prosecution asks Wendi, she has protection from being charged with. Now, that does not mean that she cannot be charged with anything in the future. Just whatever she says on the stand herself cannot be used against her. Things she wrote in emails previously, text messages, phone calls that have been recorded, etc., other people's testimony about Wendi can absolutely be used to indict her and charge her in the future. Just whatever she specifically says cannot be used against her, because that would violate her Fifth Amendment rights. So she has been granted an immunity. It is not like striking a deal in exchange for information with the prosecution. That's a very different thing. It is just a certain kind of immunity. So let's be clear with that. Then she was over asking about her residency. She says that she was originally, when she got divorced from Dan, she was going to buy this $300-something thousand house somewhere in Tallahassee. And that deal ended up falling through about in July of 2014. Now, Wendi claims on the stand that that was because Dan wasn't paying his part of the alimony. He wasn't paying his money. He wasn't paying his dues to her. So she couldn't afford it. And so when she couldn't afford it, she could only afford it with her alimony and money that Dan was trying to get out of paying. And in numerous emails, we saw Donna saying how money and penny pinching she accused Dan Markel of being. Then it was admitted that she did not take her children to their father's funeral. Oh no, after he was shot, Wendi Adelson, the very next day, on Saturday, July 15th, 2014, moved the children to South Florida. And the week before she didn't come through on this house, she moves the children and they're already set up for school. I have made videos about this before, about how that is suspicious that the children were already registered and signed up and packed up to go 2 days after he got shot. Kinda sus. But Wendi's cross-examination gets super spicy. Because at first the prosecution was like, you have a good relationship with your mother. You have a good relationship with your brother. Dan Markel wasn't a bad parent, blah, blah, blah. But then they suddenly turn on her when they talk about the divorce filings about the relocation. Because she had said that she really wanted to relocate to South Florida and that he just wasn't interested in doing it. Also, guess what? Donna Adelson had told Wendi through emails to dress their Jewish children, 3 and 4 years old at the time, in German World War II youth uniforms. Yeah, not uniforms. And take pictures of them and dress them up nicely in front of church and say that you're going to send them to a Catholic church. To try to get Dan to go, I don't want to deal with you guys anymore. Take the kids, I don't care. And Dan didn't do that. He went the other way and said, you're not allowed to be with the children anymore. We're going to restrict your access. Donna's sitting there saying, oh, you know what? It's okay to put the kids in USSR youth uniforms. It's okay. You're just dressing them up. It's like if you put them in a pirate costume. That doesn't make them pirates. It doesn't actually mean anything. It's just to annoy Dan. It's fine. Donna. That is not fine. That's not. Like, she did it because it would be a sting because Dan Markel is Jewish. But Jewish or not, that's not a good idea. That's not a thing to do. Because in the age of the internet, because Donna wanted her to post those things, wanted Wendi to put those things on her Facebook. Those things haunt children, haunt people through their lives. We've seen people getting canceled because of edgy tweets they made in 2017 or something. You know, you don't do. And that would hurt her children. Imagine if, like, they tried to go into a life of politics or something like that. They tried to become professors at a particular university, and they were like, is this you wearing a USSR uniform when you were 4 years old? Those things matter. But guess who didn't care? Donna Adelson. As long as she got her way. Allegedly. That's what prosecution's going with. Wendi Adelson also, it turns out, with the defense cross-examining her, that she agreed to not further the continuance of the relocation effort. She had put in the relocation and she stipended. stipulated. She agreed to drop the issue and to let it go with prejudice. She agreed to that, but did not tell Donna that she had agreed to that. She just kind of failed to have that little tidbit out there. She was like, Wendy's over there like, yeah, the judge just said no. The judge said no, there's nothing I can do. Meanwhile, she had told the judge, yeah, it's okay. Yeah, we can just let that go. I'll drop it. It's fine. So what Wendi Adelson is telling Donna Adelson is different than what she's doing in reality. Because I think that goes to show the fear level that Wendi had of going up against her mother. And what better way to try to drop an issue than going, the court said this, I can't do anything about it. It's not my fault that the court said no. The court said no. I can't do anything with that. Also, this is just my opinion, little side note. The female defense attorney for Donna Adelson needs to tailor her suit jackets. Okay? You're a lawyer, and she's one of those little itty bitty people. She's one of those teeny tiny itty bitty people, which means you should not be wearing giant blazer. She looks like it doesn't look good on her. If you are a teeny tiny person, if you have those little skinny bitty statures, you really need to have, especially in a lawyer business profession, if you're going to wear those big over blazers, you should have them tailored to fit you, because she's really swimming in it, and I find it distracting. Every time she's on there, I'm just going, that is so big on you, that is so big on you, that is so big on you. It looks like she borrowed it from like her husband or her brother or something, and it doesn't flatter her. And again, because the sleeves are going everywhere, and the sleeves kind of keep doing this on her hands, and she has to kind of try to subtly move them down as she's going through paperwork. It is distracting. And as a person who has experienced this, as being a 4'11" person, as being a smaller statured person myself, when you don't wear clothes that fit you, it makes you look people downgrade your mentality. Is it right? Is that judgmental? It is judgmental. It's not right, but that is what happens. And like, I think she would just look so much better with a more tailored blazer. What does that have to do with the trial? Absolutely nothing. But let me tell you, jurors do judge things based on the lawyers. You remember Bredehoff from the Depp versus Heard trial? Wendi had also previously said, and currently said, that she felt like she was an actor in somebody else's show. But when she was asked, whose show? Who's running the show? Whose show do you feel like you're acting in? She kind of looks at Donna really quickly, but then goes, I just felt like everything was out of control. Everything was spiraling, and like I was just watching my life from the outside rather than like being involved in it. Everything was crazy. We all know that you mean Donna was running the show and you were just on the outside of it. That will connect into day 3. I can't wait to tell you about day 3. Let me tell you. Now, the other T, here's where we get the major T, okay? Rob Adelson, the eldest son of Donna and Harvey, has testified. He has not testified in any other trial, not Katie Magbanawaz. He has not testified at Charlie's trial or at either of the hitmen's trials. This is the first time that he is testifying, and he had some very interesting things to say. Rather than trying to protect, cover, and distance things with Donna, Rob Adelson looked terrified on multiple levels, and he had said that his mother was very controlling and that she could be more micromanaging and a little intrusive. And when he was asked, like, how controlling was she over your career? Seems like there were some careers that were more acceptable than others. And he's an ENT, an ear, nose, and throat doctor. That was an acceptable, okay thing. And he had lived the least amount of time with the Adelsons, with Wendi Adelson specifically. He was 6 years older than her. He's 3 years older than Charlie Adelson and 6 years older than Wendi Adelson. Charlie Adelson is 3 years older than Wendi. Wendi is the youngest. So Rob Adelson went on to become a doctor, and for the last 12 plus years, he has been living in New York, in Albany, New York. So he is really far away from the Adelson practice, because just that's where his work took him to. And he said that Wendi never talks to him, never calls him. Charlie rarely talks to him, rarely calls him. And occasionally he gets emails and texts, mostly from Donna. And he goes that Donna is the most like, what's going on, how you doing, etc. Pardon me, that chai is doing things. Now, Rob Adelson had the FBI show up to his workplace, at his work office, and they were like, we're going to ask you some questions. And he was like, yeah, why? What? And he talked to them. And it turns out that Wendi Adelson had texted him for the first time in years and years. For the first time texted him and said that she had a secret boyfriend. That she was secretly dating this guy named Jeff, that she didn't think that their parents would approve, and you know how mom is. And that she hasn't showed him to anybody, that it's his secret boyfriend. He thought that was kind of weird. Like, out of the blue, she's telling him that she has a secret boyfriend. He thought that was weird, and he told that to the FBI. And it's very interesting that when they were talking about the $1 million bribe that they tried to give Dan Markel between Charlie, Wendi, and Harvey and Donna doesn't include Rob. Rob is more estranged from the rest of the family. He doesn't make a lot of visits very often. He doesn't travel there very often. And he has the least amount of contact with everybody. And he says that the day after he talked to the FBI, Donna calls him and says, hey, if law enforcement comes around, don't say anything to them. Don't talk to them. The FBI came here yesterday. I already talked to them. Well, you don't know anything anyway. That's what Rob testified to. He said that Donna reported, you don't know anything anyway. But what he did know was that Donna had been working on the divorce. Again, the defense is saying that Donna didn't have anything to do with anything. She was just being a supportive mother to her daughter and her grandkids, and that was it. But Rob is saying that when she came up to see him for a visit, one that didn't happen very often anyway, she was using his work's Wi-Fi and stuff to do stuff, and she was making comments that she was mad about the relocation thing and working on divorce proceedings, and had openly told him that, and he had seen her doing emails, and she had mentioned it numerous times. He talked about, and he called Donna, he works with people, and they said, hey, there was an arrest made. Rivera and Garcia were arrested for the death of your ex-brother-in-law, of Dan Markel. And Rob he said he was pleased about that. He was like, oh, good, justice, something happened. He called his mom. He was like, hey, they arrested people. They arrested people for Danny's murder. They got someone. Justice. And his mom didn't say anything. She redirected the conversation somewhere else and said, I have to go. She wasn't, oh my gosh, what a relief. Oh my gosh, really? Let me look that up. She didn't care. She wasn't curious. She wasn't invested. The defense is saying that she loved Dan Markel. She was obsessed with him. She was happy with him. He was a great guy. And when he dies, she doesn't care a hoot one way or another that his killers were found. Why might that be? Because she already knew? Because she hired them? In fact, the only thing she said to them was that happy anniversary. That's it. And then she left. That's fascinating. Now, the other interesting thing is that we have this wonderful, cute little officer named Mr. Brandon. Officer Brandon. Hello, sir, you wonderful man. I don't know. I found him very endearing. He was only on the stand for a few minutes, but I was like, yes. He had set up some barricades around Dan Markel's house, during the investigation and everything, and they were redirecting traffic, etc. And he had found and he goes that most everybody else, they had to stop and go, oh, I gotta find another way around. Where else do I gotta go? Oh, this is blocked off. Why are we blocked off? And he said that that's what happened most of the time. But there was one particular vehicle. He didn't pay attention to who was driving, But there was a particular vehicle, this particular vehicle, that he remembered that it just stopped and just went. Didn't think about it. There was no curiosity. Some people were like, oh, what happened? What's going on? But not this vehicle. It was the only one that didn't have pause. It was just, oh, boop, boop, boop. And he goes, it was just the most unusual. It was the only vehicle that did that. A vehicle identical to Wendy's. So she had started to drive up. No questions, no curiosity. That's the father of your children who just died. Maybe it's because she already knew. Fascinating stuff. And that is where we ended. We ended with Officer Brennan, who told us about the roadblock situation. Like I said, Rob Adelson held the tea today. That he was much more like, yeah, Donna was controlling. Donna was the one who ruled everything. She was the heavy-handed one. She got what she wanted. And that she told him not to talk to law enforcement. Bruh. So that was, about 8 hours of a court day, all rolled up into less than 30 minutes. But when we get to day, I gotta go work out. I gotta go meet somebody to work out right now. It's almost 10:40. But when I tell you guys about day 3, oh, I know it's a cliffhanger. I'm sorry. You can check out my shorts that I made when I was watching it yesterday if you want like the highlights. But I adore all of you. Thank you for joining me on my channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I always forget to say that, but I guess it's important for the algorithm. If you enjoy my weird, quirky little summaries of these trials, join me for more of those adventures. Hit the little bell, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye, my lovely humans.